She sips a Coca-Cola, she can't tell the difference yet.
Okay, so welcome to the live stream. What I thought we should do today was to try to build a to-do list using the new React Recoil. So my starting point here, what I thought we should end up with was a to-do list where you can add things, remove things, and of course check off things. And also in the end I would like it to persist page reload, so you don't lose your items if you happen to refresh the page. So basically I have made two components and I've done some styling as well. So if we look at in our app component here, all that I did so far was to import the recoil root from Recoil, which is wrapping the entire application. And I created two components, add to do and to dos. So add to do would be this form, and the to dos would be the list of to dos that would appear on top of the form. So where do I start? Maybe I should start with adding a to do, would make sense. So I have a method called add item, which would take whatever you wrote in the input and do a to-do item from that text. So maybe we start with we need to hook into the React Recoil State. In React Recoil you have something called an atom, which is like a small piece of the state. So it's an atom and it takes an object and it should have a key, and we could call that just text state for now. And we need to provide a default value for it as well, which in this case would be just an empty string. So now we have a piece of state from Recoil, just from these lines here. And then we can use this piece of state inside our app. And that looks very much like the regular use state. So we have text and set text, use recoil state, and now instead of just passing in an empty string, we pass in what we got back when we initialized the atom, which is the variable text state. I think that should be correct. So now we have here, we should have this empty string. So then I don't need this anymore. So now now it's not broken anymore, at least. Let's see, what would be our next step here? We should update this state whenever the input changes. So inside the input on change we should call the set text, and event.target value is the way that we get the text from the text box. So now this should be editable. Yeah, that's a good first step. And then for the items we need to have another piece of state from Recoil to keep track of the to-do list items. So let's make that now const to-do list state. Maybe we can call it like that. Atom and key to-do list state. And this should just default to an empty array. Yeah, so now we have that state. And this state, from this component we only want to set this state. So there is a recoil hook called use set recoil state. Set to do list. Use set recoil state. And then we pass in what we got back from this piece of state here when we called the atom or created the atom. So to do list state. So this is the thing that we want to call when we do add item. But since we have a form here, what I need to do as well is to prevent the fault, because otherwise the page will reload because of how the browser works with forms. So we want to prevent that. So we call it event down here, so let's call it event up here as well. Event dot prevent default. There we go. And then set to do list. And I think here we get the old state as input to this. Old to do list. That will be our input to this function, and then we want to add our new to-do item and return this piece of state with our new to-do item added. So then we would const new to-do list equals an array, and then we can spread the old items if there is any, and then we create a new object, and here we want to define what a to-do item is going to look like for us. So obviously we have text on it. We also should have a boolean if it is complete or not. So I'll call this one text, and that will be the event dot. No, wait. Oh wait, it's the state. So we can just, because it's this one, so we can just, if we leave it like that, it will be property text, value text, or property text and the value whatever the text is. And then we need a boolean to keep track of if the to-do list item is complete or not. So is complete, and when we create it, it should always be false, and since it's new. And then we need to return the new to-do list. Might be good to also check that, because if the input field is empty, then we don't want to do anything. We don't want to create an item with an empty text, so we just do if item if not item dot length, then we just return item is not, oh, should be text here. Thank you for that. So now, do I dare to press add and see what happens? Add item, going here. The state is set whenever I change the input, so we should have the text in the state, and then when we press, we should set to do list, which comes from the recoil state. So maybe first to do, maybe. No. Do we have an error? Oh wait, I'm stupid. I haven't fixed the rendering of the... I need something to consume the state, of course. And also, if this was successful, I should also clear out the... I'm not gonna move this entity here, because we should get that from the state instead. Const to do list is equal to use recoil value, and then we pass in the to do list state. Is that enough? Is that all we need? First item. Yeah. So that is consuming the state, rendering it out with an input, a label, and or like the input is the checkbox. So it renders it with a checkbox, a label, and a button for deletion. I think a good next step would be to hook up the deletion of to-dos, maybe. So then we need to set. It should be similar to adding, I think. And it's on this piece of state. So we want a set to do list function that comes from the state. So it's a set function on the to-do list state. So this is the one we want to call when we delete. So here we have the delete call, and we pass in the index. So we want to, yeah, I remember now. We got the old to-do list when as input to this. Passed in, and then we should figure out which one is removed, and then I think we can do a filter on the old list. Const new to-do list is equal to old to-do list dot filter to do, and then we return to-dos, which that's right, I need the to-do and the index here. I'll just call it I so it won't conflict with the index up here. To-do.I is not equal to index, so we'll remove the one that has that index that was passed in. And then we return new to-do list, which is hopefully just the other ones, not the one that we press delete on. Could this work? So I will add first and second. Can I delete the first? I cannot. And why is that? Ooh, this is wrong. It should just be I. That should be it. Hopefully. First, second, remove first. Yes! Yes! Okay, so what's next? We can add, we can delete. Now we should do the toggle. And that should flip the is complete on that to-do item. That one is called when we check here, or when we flip the check, or rather on the on change of the input checkbox. So that's called with the index of it. So it's a bit similar. Probably a map then. set to-do list, all to-do list comes in, and then we return, or we'll write it out a bit so it's easier to read. All to-do list of the map, to-do, a to-do and its index. So here we should return, we'll do an if statement. If I equals index, we know that we should flip it. So we return an object where is completed is flipped. The rest of the properties should remain unchanged, but is complete should be to do or not to do dot is complete, else we should return just a to do as it is. Return. Okay, have I done everything? No, I haven't returned it. So now we try first. Yeah, seems to work. So now we have add delete toggle, and I mentioned the last thing I wanted to try was to make it persist the page load, because right now if I reload it, it's gone, which is not, it's not the best to-do list. So at least it should persist a page load. So I wanted to try to use LocalStorage together with React Recoil, and I found this hook that I copied online. It's called useLocalStorage, and you pass in a key and the initial value for that key, and if the key exists you get back the value, and you get, oh yeah, you get a function to set the value, and you get you get the value. It's like a hook. It's like the set state hook basically. And so let's try that here. Import use local storage from hooks / use local storage. And then we can const so persisted to-dos set persist to-dos. That's what it returns. Use local storage, and we should have a key which could be to-dos, and what was the other one? Initial value. I guess the initial value is just a empty array. Persisted to-dos and persisted to-dos. So now when we use this atom state, instead of passing in this one, we should pass in the persisted to-dos. Persisted to-dos. Yeah, let's try that, see what happens. Persist, add, reload. No, I think So I need to call that whenever the state changes. I need to call this also, so that it's saved in local storage and not just updated in the recoil state. So set persisted to-dos key to-dos. No, I don't need key. I have it already. So it would be up in here because we need a new to-do list. And also when we toggle it, we should also do it like that. And then we also need to do it for the add to do. Otherwise those won't be saved in local storage. So I should import everything here as well. Here we should do persisted to-dos. And then here we have add items. So before we do this, we should do set persisted to-dos to new to-do list. Okay, now there is a chance to persist. I'll add a question mark because of the uncertainty. Yeah, and if I check it, persist checked. If I add a second, that works. If I remove the first one, yeah, we did it. We have persisted recoil. Cool. I think I will stop the stream there. Thanks for watching. I got lots of more JavaScript content coming, and if you like that content, you should subscribe, but only if you like it. Otherwise, skip subscribe. Bye.